Hello all and welcome in to WHF round 11. Here we are in tier 2 for the penultimate round of the season in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it is going to be an exciting one. TJ can wrap up the Drivers' Championship today, as well as Ferrari can win the Constructors today. Although, as it stands, it does seem that it might be a big ask for TJ. To do it, he has to outscore Ty Clear by a decent amount here in order to seal the championship today. There's also Stephen Beecham and F1 Lime who are still in the mix, who can send it to another round. The finale is next time out, as we'll follow Stephen Beecham, who has led the championship for a large majority of this season. But we'll go on board with Stephen as he does his first lap of Sao Paulo, Brazil, here in Abu Dhabi, as there is an Aston Martin that's completely in the way. Not quite sure who that was, but either way. Follow Stephen again, as Stephen now rounding the final corner. Let me find out what the pole lap time from Tier 1 Brazil, as Tier 1 Brazil happened last Sunday, where we've seen Stephen Beecham sets an 8-1. I believe we've seen Nasev on pole, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. But TJ with an 8-7, Lime's invalid. Will be going again. Ty Clear doing a bit of a slow lap, possibly pushing again. Who else is on flyers here? Northy doing another lap. Crimson starting a lap. We also have almost finishing lap Andrew in the Red Bull. Late addition to the season, but Andrew has been a quick driver. But let me find out who went quickest in. I believe it was Nasev with a 7-3. Although that was in dampening conditions, so you could actually see Tier 2 pole be quicker than Tier 1 potentially. Although currently they're not close to that time, although Andrew gone to P6, Scones to P6 as well. As Lime rounding the final corner now and pushing up to the line. And Lime in the Aston Martin. Where can he go? It'll be P7 for Lime. As Lime spins into the wall out of turn 1. I thought he was partly getting out of the way, but now that I'm seeing him, it's a bit inadvertent, as Abe goes P9, Ellis P10, and that lovely Haas livery, just a bit more pronounced, is the Haas, as SNZ on a lap along with Northy. Northy coming up to the line now, and unfortunately not a world beater with a 140.7 here in Brazil. But where can SNZ go on this lap? Only a couple people left to set laps in the session. And SNZ is another one, along with Lanky, Raheem and Dubsy. Ollie been serving a quali ban here, as Andrew in the chat says hello everyone. And SNZ up to P8 with an 8-9. So the field's still relatively spread out at this stage. But we'll see who else is on a lap. Sci-Fi invalid, Scones not going quicker, Northy invalids. We're still going to see Lanky, Raheem and Dub out on a lap. Dubsy In his last two races, finished P3 and P4 respectively. Dub has been on an absolute charge towards the end of the season, trying to help McLaren score some big points. If we have a look at the constructor standings, which I can probably get them up while we have a bit of a gap here. Let me find them. Ferrari do lead 90 points ahead of Aston Martin. Aston Martin essentially need to score maximum points for the remainder of the season. Ferrari just need around 8. Or I think it's 9 points to seal the championship for Ferrari. McLaren, I don't think they have a mathematical chance. It's only Aston who have a mathematical chance at still claiming the title. Meanwhile, Alpine, led by TJ, have extended their margin. Well, have jumped up to P4 ahead of Williams. And TJ also looking to seal the drivers. If we have a quick look at that, TJ 14 points ahead of Ty Clear, 15 points ahead of Stephen, who's a further 15 points ahead of Lime. So it's still big gaps here. I think Lime still mathematically can score enough to stay in it, but we'll have to see after the race. If Lime gets a win here, we'll do some calculating. But Lime is currently, if I do some quick math, and 44 or 45 points behind, so Lime can still mathematically win as Scones moves up to P9. Ty Clear now on a lap. Has multiple wins this season. Ty was one of the most unlucky drivers in WHF. Really, the win had eluded him for so long, and in round 2 this season picked up a win in Spain. But Ty, currently P2 in the championship, wants more than that, but runs wide up the hill at turn 6 of Ferradura. And Ty, unfortunately, I'll have to go again. But Stephen Beecham, who is P3 in the championship race, has been a very strong driver this season and could win it as well. Currently the quickest out there. Stephen will follow him on a lap. Currently has an 8-1. And where can the Ferrari driver go? Currently 4 tenths ahead of Gunnar. Gunnar with a terrific qualifying performance so far, along with Thackeray and even D. Summers as well. Meanwhile, Crimson just 2 points behind Lime. Crimson with probably the furthest outside chance at getting the championship here. Crimson currently P5 here in the penultimate round of the season. Crimson would need a lot to go his way in order to win the title, as Stephen backs up his lap. TJ now up to P2 with an 8-3, just 2 tenths shy of Stephen. But TJ does have a decent, as Lime spins through turn 1 again. Lime really struggling with turn 1, not sure why. But TJ doesn't necessarily need to win all the races for the remainder of the season. He just needs to limit the damage done by the Ferraris, essentially. And TJ should be champion. Currently leads Ty Clear by 14 points. And there's a further 15-point gap to Stephen Beecham. So TJ could even win the title here if he outscores Ty Clear by enough. We'll do some quick math after the race in that scenario. Meanwhile, Dubsy, who's having a barnstormer end of the season. And Dub now up to P8 on his first lap. Brilliant lap there, just slightly ahead of Abe in P9. As Lime now coming into the pit lane as Sci-Fi Mega Hype coming up to the line, but no improvement for Sci-Fi. Oh, actually, slight improvement there. He was down on his Delta, but still was able to find some time. I wonder if Stephen now on another push. No, he's a 10th down. Will be coming into the box. As Crimson now purple first sector as Ho Chi Minh into the lobby. The debutant has joined us later on here. If we can get himself a car. And 6.5 minutes left in the session, so Ho Chi Minh should have enough time to grab a car and get a lap in here. But Crimson out 4/10 to the good. Can Crimson find the traction out of the final corner? This could be massive for Crimson's season if he can get a very good qualifying here. And 4/10 to the good may even put him as high as pole if he can nail this final run. And up to the line, it's a 10th shy of Stephen Beecham on pole. And Crimson, it's an American front row currently. And Crimson and Stephen both need a lot to go their way for the remaining 2 races of the season if they do want to win the title. And Ho Chi Minh into the Williams, so hopefully can get a lap set. But Crimson now. Meanwhile, Lanky, had a great performance last time out in Silverstone. Even had a shout at the win at a point in the race, was doing very well. But then 2 punctures after trying a hard medium for Lanky. That would really limit his opportunity to win. But showing good pace out here today in P5. Could this be the opportunity for Lanky, who does sit P6 in the championship? Unfortunately for Lanky, the championship title opportunity is gone. But Lanky could still grab a win here in the last 2 races of the season, which I'm sure Lanky would be very happy with. And maybe even heading into next season, give him the courage to stride on. As Scones now with an 8.571, 2 thousandths ahead of Lanky into P5. Scones, another driver who has had a couple sniffs of the win this season, but no cigar, unfortunately, just yet for the South African. Meanwhile, PLG Raheem, the Sauber, coming up to the final corner, about half a tenth down on his time. Can he nail the run out of the final corner and improve here? Raheem currently with a 9.148, and now as he comes up to the line, can he improve? Can he get into the 8s? Does sneak into the 8s, but unfortunately doesn't get ahead of SNZ UAE, and Raheem loses the rears into turn 1. And for some reason, a lot of drivers struggling at turn 1 today. Not quite sure why, but AO. Meanwhile, Scones into the box. And 3 minutes left of the season, or session. And TJ, their championship leader, will go on board with him for his final lap. 3.5 minutes to go in the session. This will potentially be his final run. And can TJ snatch pole here at the death? Needs around 2 tenths to get ahead of Stephen Beecham, who currently holds pole position here. And TJ on a flyer here up through Ferradura. Very tricky right-hander. Locking the rears through turn 8. Navigating his way through this middle sector. Losing the rear as the rear stepped out at turn 10, exiting turn 10. And now through turn 12. Can he get the rotation? And up the hill. And TJ going to come in. I don't know if he has enough time to come in and put on another set of tyres. We'll have to see. And meanwhile, we do have Ty Clear out there as well as Dubsy. Excuse me. But Dub, I think, starting another lap. Ty Clear, currently P2 in the championship, on another lap. He's down on his time by 7 hundredths. Can Ty improve? Currently P9 needs a big improvement to get anywhere near TJ, and he would ideally like to outperform TJ here to make sure that the championship at least goes to round 12 in Abu Dhabi. But if TJ can outscore Ty by around 14 points, then TJ will be champion here today. If the race were to end as is, I would need to do some calculations, but I think Ty would be safe in P9, but it would leave him a lot to do in Abu Dhabi. We'll have to see. Is Ty now up to the line? That's P3, 2 thousandths ahead of TJ. His championship rival. Mega lap there from Ty. And he's given TJ a lot of pressure, and TJ's not out of the pit lane quick enough. TJ will not be setting another lap time, so TJ will not be improving. The battle for pole really comes down to Crimson, Stephen Beecham, even Lime potentially, who hasn't got a good lap in as of yet, down in P12. Lime, the driver who's won the most races this season, but really struggling here in Brazil today. Currently P4 in the championship, and ideally would like a win here if he could get it. And Lime now up to the line. Where can he go? As he crosses the line, it's improvement by a 10th, but not enough for Lime. Just really struggled today in P13. Ayub improves by a 10th as well, stays P12. We will follow Crimson, although Crimson doesn't appear to be going quickly. It said he was down on his Delta. Not quite sure if Crimson is pushing or not. As Scones, the checkered flag has fallen. TJ is done for the session. Thankfully his AI does not block anyone. We'll see. Crimson now doesn't appear to be going any quicker. Stephen though, a 10th to the good here. We also have Fakri on a lap. He's coming up to the line. And where can he go? No improvement for Fakri. You've got the Alpine in the background. Might have been TJ's AI. As Lanky up to P2. What a lap from Lanky. Stephen will cross the line though and does a 7-9 and will cement himself on pole position. What a lap there from Stephen. But what a lap from Lanky as well. Gunnar doesn't appear to be going any quicker. Lime not going quicker. Ayub doesn't seem to be going quicker either. And seems that that's us for this session, unless Sci-Fi or Northy are going any quicker, which they don't really appear to be. But there you have it, Stephen Beecham on pole ahead of Lanky, Crimson, and then the two main championship protagonists, Tyke there and TJ down in P4 and P5. That's not really something we've seen all season. That the top two in the championship qualify both outside the top three. Also Scones involved. D Sommers with a brilliant lap time with an 8.4, just in behind Scones. Dubsy in P8. Gunnar in P9, SNZ in P10, followed by Fakri, Ayub, Lime down in P13 will be very disappointed with that lap time. Meanwhile, Ho Chi Minh on debut into P14 with an 8.8, Raheem with an 8.9, Alice with a 9.2, Sci-Fi Mega Hype just gets ahead of Andrew with a 9.7, and Northy the slowest time of the day in P19 with a 10.0, and Ollie Bean had a quali ban, so we'll start from the back. Ollie B in the chat says Stephen is flying, and with a 7.9, that is a very impressive lap time. That is certainly tier 1 pace, and I'm sure we will see some of the drivers who are very quick today up in tier 1 next season. I am very sure of it. There you have it, Stephen Beecham on pole yet again this season. Has had so many pole positions. I believe, how many poles that is? That is his 6th pole of this season. And yet Stephen has no wins. Even if Stephen doesn't win the championship this season, I think today in Brazil, he will desperately want the win. He wants that monkey off his back. And can finally Stephen get that monkey off his back? We all want to see it. But let me let the drivers know when they're ready up so that there's no early ready ups and we don't have to do any restarts. Hopefully everyone has an eye on their Discord chat. No one readies up early because I would ideally like if we can all have a smooth enough race without a restart. That would be ideal. But TJ does lead the championship by 14 points over Ty Clear. He could win it today in Brazil if he outscores Ty by enough. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham starting from pole here could do well if he can close up to TJ. But currently Stephen Beecham is outside that 25-point threshold that he would need to extend it to another race. So if he equals TJ on points this race, then TJ will finish ahead of him in the championship. Stephen needs to be outscoring TJ by, I believe, 3 or more points, I believe, to keep it going to round 12 in Abu Dhabi. Lime and Crimson both sort of need a miracle. They both kind of need to win or finish P2, as well as TJ not finishing in order to get it to another round. But Lanky in the chat said, OMG, I just shocked myself, and Lanky with a season best P2 in qualifying. You love to see it. But intriguing to see who will win the race today. Could really go any direction. We've had so many races this season where the driver on pole, and half of the races this season, over half, because Stephen now has 6 poles, haven't actually ended up going on to win the race. So it could be anyone really inside the top 6 or even further down. We'll have to see. We've had a couple of sensational drives this season. Isaac in the chat says rain on the way. Isaac, what's your Discord again, or what's your username again? But it appears rain may be on the way to part in this race. The Tier 1 drivers did have to deal with rain in qualifying. I don't believe there was rain in the race, unless... No, there was rain in the race. There was, yeah. There was rain towards the end, whereas Isaac has said rain on the way. I don't know when that's coming until Isaac or someone else maybe says there's rain coming. What's Crimson? Yes. Crimson currently P5 in the championship, needs a lot to go his way here. And I believe starting from P3 this race. I don't want to check the race director, otherwise, because you can sometimes get caught in the race director bug where you just get stuck in the race director and you can't commentate the race. So we'll avoid that for the start. But this is going to be an exciting one. Who will win here in Sao Paulo, Brazil? It could go any direction. Either way, all the drivers are essentially against TJ at this point, because TJ could claim the title today, and all of them, I'm assuming, are going to try and ensure that doesn't happen today, and that it is extended for another race to give them another attempt to potentially win a title of their own. Meanwhile, Crimson does say lap 15 or so, the rain will come. As we hear the chimes knocking down, we will get the 5 red lights on here in round 11 in Tier 2, Brazil. Here in the penultimate round of the season, it'll be the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham leading us away as the 5 red lights go out. We head down into turn 1. Stephen gets away well. Lanky losing the rear. Down into turn 1. Crimson on the outside of Lanky. Lanky going to outbrake the McLaren as we head through turn 2 and 3. And Ty Clear bottled in and boxed in and gets away through. And TJ, the championship leader, trying to fight his way through the pack as well. There's a yellow flag around. It's Ayub at the back as TJ losing out now. Hasn't really lost positions, but really trying to take advantage here, but unable to, as Lanky lost a second to Stephen already as they head through Ferradura up the hill. And Ty watching this battle along as Crimson trying to get past Lanky, who started on the hard tyres. A lot of drivers starting on the hards up the front. Stephen has had the best start so far, who will try and take the hards to the rain, I assume, as Ty trying to find a way through Ty gonna have to manage those mediums though, as will many drivers until the rain. Meanwhile, the hard runners, I think, will be able to comfortably extend them until the rain comes. Meanwhile, Lime down in P17. What's happened, Lime? He's dropped multiple positions. Ollie been on the sauce with damage. Lime with damage on the front right end plate. SNZ UAE also with damage as well, as D Summers gets ahead of Sci-Fi Mega. Dubsy ahead of Ellis Ho Chi Minh on debut, up into P9, having a strong race in the Williams here. Ty clear on the rear. Crimson losing the rear through turn 3. Can Ty find a way through now with DRS on the rear of the McLaren as Lanky tries to head through, and TJ out of nowhere on the inside of Ty clear gets a much better exit, and what a run from TJ up into P4, gets ahead of the championship rival. And this is exactly what TJ needs to do in order to try and steal the title today. He needs to outscore Ty by around 14 points or so. But Ty knows he has to challenge TJ, has to put pressure on the Alpine, who it seemed very comfortable for him. Going for the move, there's Ty now back down the inside, through the middle sector. The championship protagonist battle here through the final sector. Ty back through again. Lovely move there from Ty clear, back up into P4. As TJ gets knocked around and spawned by Scones! TJ's gone round! And that's major implications for the championship! The championship leader's been spun around! And down to P14! Scones and the Aston Martin tapped the rear and sent him round in a pirouette! And TJ now down to P14! As Dubsy now sends it on the inside! And Dubsy's been absolutely bowling pinned out of the way! And Dubsy now down the order, cars everywhere. Scones has lost it. Absolute carnage here on lap 3. Lime getting through. TJ back through on the driver. Took him out. Lime with a late move. TJ with amazing reactions getting round the outside of Lime. Dear Lord, what reactions from our championship leader to find his way back through on Lime. Lime with a late defensive move, and TJ saw it beautifully. That was insane reactions. Ho Chi Minh now up to P7. He's having a mega debut, but absolute carnage there. And Ty Clear will be buzzing with that, as there's a yellow flag around Ho Chi Minh, as we just mentioned how well he's doing. Ho Chi Minh now down to P12 as he spins again, down further to P13. Dubsy may even have a look on the inside of Ho Chi Minh. Almost has his front wing chopped off here, as Ayub trying to fight his way through. SNZ now on the rear as well, but we've got so many cars absolutely everywhere. Who do we watch? D Summers now back down the inside of Sci-Fi Mega, has a look through, but Sci-Fi outbreaks him lovely on the brakes from Sci-Fi. Raheem battling with Dubsy. Cars absolutely everywhere as Crimson getting ahead of Lanky down into turn 4. Lanky with a lovely switchback though. Absolute cinema out here in round 11. Just cars battling everywhere. It's hard to find out which battle to look at. But Crimson battling with Lanky now has given Stephen the opportunity to clear off down the road. And Stephen will be loving this, because he needs all the points he can get to catch to TJ now. TJ recovered to P10 after being down as far as P14 a moment ago. And can the championship leader recompose after being spun around by Scones there on lap 3? And absolute carnage there. Scones battling. Oh, Dubsy on the inside. Ho Chi Minh. And a big barge of the side pod there, as Ho Chi Minh battles with the McLaren here. One more contact with Dub, and Dub absolutely sends it into the side of the Williams, and Dub's around. And Dub completely out of control there, losing the car. And Ho Chi Minh, an unfortunate victim in that incident there, as Crimson battling with Lanky again. Ty gonna watch this battle along if he can find a way through. D Summers battling with Ellis. Ellis down to P9 now, as the rain coming down already. Ellis may even lose out to Sci-Fi Mega as well, if Sci-Fi can get the exit. But the rain coming down here on lap 5. The rain came down a whole lot earlier than expected. Crimson says it might be lap 15, but here on lap 5 we already see the raindrops coming down. Stephen loving life. He's really building a big gap here. 2.7 seconds. Meanwhile, Sci-Fi and Ellis battle up Ferradura, and what a move from Ellis up the hill, as Scones already in for inters. Dubsy already in for inters. That is crazy. It is not interweather just yet, but they're really taking the gamble early. Very shocking. But the track surface is not wet enough just yet. But we will see who takes the gambles here. Lanky losing the rear. Out of the final corner. Will we see anyone gamble into the box early? Lanky coming in early. Crimson going to stay out along with Ty Clear. Has Lanky. And he's sped into the pit lane as Lanky. Disappointing for Lanky. Gunner into the box. Factory into the box as well. Lanky. That 10-second time penalty, unfortunately, is going to cost him here as Ledgeman. Also into the box here. I think we've seen Lime going for a move on the inside of Sci-Fi. Mega Hype goes a bit deep though into turn 1. Struggling now. The track surface is getting wetter as Lime and Sci-Fi still battle. And Lime dealing with that front wing damage. Also has to get that front wing fixed, you would think. But Stephen now pulling another second to Crimson. Can Stephen now box, I would say. The track surface does seem to be getting a bit wetter. The rain does seem to be laying on the track. Fakiri is the driver who leads the pack as Lanky's onto the mediums. Lanky. Oh, heartbreak for Lanky. He's ended up on the wrong tyre. Didn't pick the inters as Andrew. Who is boxed already onto the 3-lap old mediums. Will have to box again onto the inters. Lime still got to think about fixing that front wing. As DRS disabled now, that is your key indicator that it is going to be inters. Stephen now coming in, gotta play it cautious into the pit lane. And Stephen does just that. Crimson as well, also going to play it cautious into the pit lane. Has he overshot it? He has. Crimson's overshot it. And a 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty for Crimson. That is going to really cost the McLaren here. Meanwhile, D Summers into the box. He's got a 10 second speeding in the pit lane penalty. So is TJ, the championship leader. 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty along with Sci-Fi Mega Hype as SNZ definitely gets one there. Overtakes Lime into the pit lane. That was definitely one. As Mumia says Lanky did ask for the inters but didn't get them. So Lanky back in now to get some inters on. A Sci-Fi Mega Hype onto the soft tyres. Sci-Fi Mega Hype's not selected the right tyres here as well. As we see Scones battling with Ho Chi Minh. A54 now. Getting a 3-second time penalty is Fakiri up in P4. This is the best the Algerian has done this season so far. As Scones continuing to battle with Ho Chi Minh. As Scones getting ahead of Sci-Fi Mega Hype. And Sci-Fi probably frustrated on the soft tyres. Goes deep though. Has no grip on those soft tyres. Can't even get the car stopped at all into turn 4. And we'll have to go back in again for the inters. Unfortunate that the game does not, you know, understand that all the drivers want the inters. Unless you manually select them, the majority of the time it will not give you the inters. Meanwhile, Lime battling with SNZ. Yellow flag around. It's Gunner. Gunner's completely left the track there. As TJ dropping behind Ayub as well. Maybe there was contact between TJ and Ayub there. As Raheem getting ahead of Sci-Fi. Oh, there's a big crash. Big crash there. Raheem around. And Sci-Fi may have picked up damage there in the side pod. As Dub Z again involved in the wars here as Lime getting through. Gunner with another time penalty here, but so many time penalties already here on lap 8. As Ledgeman going to look through to get back past Ho Chi Minh. But this has been carnage. Ayub battling with Gunner. Gunner leaves the track again. And loses out to TJ. Gunner really struggling just to keep it on track here. Not quite sure what the issue with Gunner is so far. But the Ferraris are loving life out here. If the race were to end as is, the Ferraris would be constructor champions comfortably. They don't even need to outscore. Oh, Scones into the rear of Ledgeman. A lot of drivers here just taking too much risks in the wet. Trying to do fake sends and then not getting the car stopped. As we just seen with Scones there. Meanwhile, Fakiri in P4. It's a net P3 because of Crimson's 10-second time penalty. Loses the rear, touching the grass. And Fakiri almost spun around there. As Ho Chi Minh now in the rear of Gunner. Gunner's been really struggling on these inters. Ho Chi Minh now with a big send. Goes a bit deep. Can Gunner get the switch back? A little bit of a wheel bang between Ho Chi Minh and Gunner. And a lovely move from Ho Chi Minh to get through now into P8. And on debut, Ho Chi Minh's having a fantastic drive here. As Ledgeman following along Gunner. Gunner just, it seems like the inters is not his specialty at all. Really struggling in these wet conditions. As Ledgeman now trying to stay with the Cyber ahead. Scones also getting involved. Lime now on the rear of SNZ UAE. And down the main straight into turn 1 line. Could have a comfortable move here, and the Aston Martin does get ahead of the Red Bull, as SNZ may look back ahead of the Aston, but doesn't go for the move as the rear stepping out on the Aston Martin there, as SNZ trying to work a move back through on the Aston. But major calamities here from many of the drivers. 10 seconds for Crimson, D Sommers, TJ and SNZ UAE. So many drivers getting speeding in the pit lane penalties. A reminder though, Brazil is a high tyre wear circuit, so we may see a couple drivers in for another set of enters. Meanwhile, Ho Chi Minh all over the rear of TJ here. Championship leader struggling in these conditions now. Ho Chi Minh trying to find a way through on the Alpine. The Alpine touches the grass though. Ho Chi Minh now in the Williams. Oh, it's a bit of a contact through the Alpine. And the Alpine just struggling massively in these inter conditions as there's a yellow flag around. And it's Northy this time. Northy off the track now and down to P19. Ollie been getting ahead of him. And the V-Carb unfortunately today having a nightmare down in P19 and 20. As Ellis now down the main straight, still trying to head after Gunner. Gunner trying to recompose, as is TJ. But does TJ have some damage here? We're not quite sure. TJ's pace just seems to be struggling, especially with that 10-second time penalty. It's not helping him. Meanwhile, Lanky down ahead of Dub Z. And Lanky unfortunately had such a good qualifying, but boxed. And instead of enters, the Mercedes team gave him mediums, so had to box again. And now Lanky down to P14 as Dub, following the Mercedes along. Meanwhile, Ledgeman and Scones follow along Gunner. Can they work their way past the Cyber? As both being patient in these interconditions. Only on lap 10 already. There's been so much carnage in this race. And it seems the drivers who've kept their nose clean the most are doing the best here. As Ho Chi Minh now continuing to build a gap to TJ, having a fantastic race on debut here. As Scones now would have picked up a big warning there, just completely cutting the track. As he looks after the rear of Ledgeman and Gunner. Still no move for Scones or Ledgeman. Stuck behind Gunner. TJ dropping 2.4 seconds behind Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh absolutely flying today. Almost onto the rear of Abe now. And Ho Chi Minh on debut is giving one of the drives of the ages here. This is a fantastic drive for the Williams here. Let's see the positions gained by the Williams if we can find it. 7 positions for Ho Chi Minh. And we haven't even mentioned Fakiri and Ayub as well in P6, as well as Ledgeman up 7, 6, 7 and 6. Did someone say 6, 7? As multiple drivers in this race are having a strong outing, gaining a lot of positions here off the start. Ho Chi Minh now on the rear of Ayub. What an absolute flyer he's having today. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of Ty Clear starting to catch Crimson. And Ty, a win here could be massive. Ty 14 points behind Ty Clear, and he wants to nab as much points as possible to close and maybe even take the championship lead into the final round of the season, as Stephen will want to do the same. Stephen can't take the championship lead today here, but he can essentially close the gap massively, which could give him the opportunity as we head to Abu Dhabi to win the title. And Stephen having a great race as Ho Chi Minh now through in the P6. What a drive from the Williams. I am in awe, as he has been flying out there. Just no one able to stop the pace of the Williams here. having an absolute masterclass out there. Even the championship leader of TJ continuing to fall back, struggling in these conditions. Ho Chi Minh in P6 just absolutely flying. Fantastic drive from the Williams here. And have Williams replaced SSR Zampa already with this fantastic driver in Ho Chi Minh. As Tai now on the rear of Crimson, the Ferrari, the prancing horses prowling on the rear of the Papaya. And can the McLaren keep him behind? Continues to do so here on lap 13. When will we see drivers box again though? I assume there will be another stop on the inters, but that may come around lap 20, I would say, or maybe even further on, maybe lap 21, 22. Meanwhile, Scones battling with Ellis down into turn 4. And Scones find a way through. Ledgeman able to keep it ahead of Scones now. As Gunnar still able to protect this position as well. But Ledgeman having a decent race up in P10. And this could be big for Haas if he gets some decent points. Along with Fakiri, who is in P4. This would be a season high finish for Haas. Meanwhile, Ty Clear charging after Crimson. Can he find a way ahead? Will this be the lap? Just doesn't seem like he's got close enough. He would really need some DRS, which unfortunately in wet conditions you don't have. Meanwhile, Ledgeman all over the rear of Gunnar. Can he find the exit out of the final corner? Struggling for traction is every driver. But can Ledgeman get him as off the track goes Gunnar? Hits the DRS board for good measure. And really struggling there. For grip, Gunnar leaving the track there entirely. As Ledgeman watch Gunnar just absolutely annihilate the DRS board. But can Ledgeman now, out of turn 3, get a good exit and charge down to turn 4? But just doesn't seem like he has the pace, has the traction to get ahead of the Sauber. The Sauber has decent enough straight line speed to keep him behind. But can Ledgeman capitalise on Gunnar, who is struggling massively out there? I'm not sure if Gunnar has he does have a 3-second time penalty along with Ayub, but maybe picking up warnings left, right and centre here, leaving the road so much, and may end up with 6 seconds in short time. Meanwhile, Ty back on the rear of Crimson now, and can Ty, currently P2 in the championship, take P2 on the road ahead of the McLaren of Crimson? He's closing more and more. Crimson defending as best he can. But Ty still unable to get ahead. Meanwhile, Ledgeman still closing, but no cigar on the rear of Gunnar. Still unable to find a way through. Scones as well, frustrated in behind. No DRS to help them, so they've just got to use all the talent they have on board. As Ledgeman losing the rear a little bit, pushing out of turn 3. But I will say Ledgeman in the previous season, we may have seen him lose the car entirely there, so Ledgeman has acquired a new sense of composure. As Scones makes a little mistake, Ledgeman has developed greatly as a driver this season, we've seen, and in normal circumstances we'd see him get overzealous on the throttle. Now we're seeing him be calm and composed, working the angle to try and get ahead of Gunnar. And being calm and composed in Formula 1 is the key. Meanwhile now, can Ty find his way through again? Unable to. We've also got Ellis on the rear of Gunnar. You've got Lanky on the rear of Lime. Lime trying to get caught back up to the rear again of Scones. As Ledgeman now, can he finally find a way through? And Gunnar not closing just yet. Lime trying to close the Scones. Lanky on the rear of the Aston Martin pair. And has Lime gone deep? Lost the rears. Lanky now all over the rear of Lime. Almost pushing him through turn 2. And Lime possibly overzealous on the brakes as Ellis pulling out of the DRS. Lanky gonna have a look down into turn 4. Has to get it stopped in time, just about does. Thankfully doesn't tap the rear of Lime. And we're all going in the straight line, thankfully. As Lime following along his teammate Scones, possibly trying to work an angle to get ahead of his teammate here. As Scones, struggling on these inters, has been unable to try and find a way past Ledgeman. As Lime for company now. And Aston Martin, currently the only contenders with Ferrari in the championship, but they're down in P11 and 12, which would be nowhere near enough to extend the championship to the next round. As things stand, Ferrari would be champions here in the Constructors. And meanwhile, Lanky still trying to work his way past Lime. Lime trying to find the traction. TJ with a 3-second time penalty. That may add to his woes this race, as TJ with another time penalty in this one. As Lime now on the inside of Scones, going to try and find a way through. Lanky pressurising Lime as well. The Astons nose to tail through turn 1, 2 and 3. Can Lime get a good exit out of turn 3 and try and get ahead of Scones now? As Lanky also trying to pressure Lime now down into turn 4. Will he go for the move? Thinks better of it. But can he get the exit out of turn 4 on the inside? Scones leaves the track. And it's a lovely move from Lime. Getting out of Scones now. Lanky now on the outside as we head up the hill. Very tight angle. Lanky touches the grass though. Has to back out there surely. Touching the grass on the outside there. Lanky a bit spooked. And off the line he goes. And Lime getting through on his teammate. Had to push a little bit more than he would like for it. But gets through nonetheless. As Lanky still trying to work the angle to get ahead. Ledgeman also all over the rear of Gunner. Being so patient behind the Sauber. Really trying to find the way past. But how much longer will he be frustrated in behind the Sauber? Can he finally get ahead? We will see. Ledgeman though closing on Gunner. Can he use some power down the straight? Just doesn't seem to have it as Lanky getting through on Scones on the outside. Lanky through now. And Scones appearing to overheat his inters a little bit in behind Ledgeman and Gunner. And will Lime face the same fate, or can he find his way past Ledgeman? Is down into turn 4. We're going to go. Lime going to look on the inside. Side by side they go. Lime takes a bit too much speed into the corner and almost clips the rear of Ledgeman. And Ledgeman just about survives there on the exit. As we head through turn 5, will Lime look again? No, Ledgeman going to keep it ahead. Lime pressuring the Haas driver. Can Lime work out an angle here as Sci-Fi Megab swaps with Northy down in P19? But Lime still trying to find a way through. We've also got Ty back on the rear Crimson as Northy picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Lanky also trying to recover as well. I did mention that we may see some pit stops as soon as lap 12 or lap 20. Now that I've said that, I think it may be closer to like 22, 23, 24. As Lime now on the outside of Ledgeman, going to get straight past, potentially more straight line speed for the Aston Martin driver. As Ledgeman, gets sent on by Lanky. Lanky on the inside now, battling with Ledgeman, and Ledgeman going to get back through again out of turn 2. Lovely defensive driving from Ledgeman. Lost the position in Lime, but it was not a 2-for-1. Lanky seen the opportunity, tried to find a way through on the Haas driver, but the Haas driver placing his car perfectly as Lanky now looking back on the inside of Ledgeman. Ledgeman defending well though, as Lanky still trying to search for a way out of turn 4 to get ahead of Ledgeman, but Ledgeman holds on to P11 for now as the lap holder enters, which may cause him to struggle a little bit more. Meanwhile, Lanky all over the rear of the Haas driver now. Can Lime work his way past Gunner? Gunner has been incapable of being passed so far as SNZ picks up another 3-second time penalty. Lime, could he be the one to finally dispatch of Gunner here? Also, at any point in the race, will we see it go back to dry is the question. because these drivers could be trying to extend the inters before we go back to dry, or just be going on the inters till the end. We will have to wait and see. But Lime now straight through Gunner and making it look easy as we head down the main straight. But Gunner, again with that straight line speed, able to get back ahead of Lime. And Lime now into the rear of Gunner, punts him deep. And Gunner now may lose a position. They head through turn 2 and 3. And Lime gets through after punting Gunner out of the way, which I'm sure Gunner will not be happy with. As in the background, Lanky, almost on the grass it seemed there, as Dub Z now into the pit lane and retires. Uncharacteristic there from Dub. But Dub may have had some sort of issues. Ledgeman back on the rear of Gunner. Gunner leaving the track again. Can Ledgeman find a way through on Gunner? Locking the tyres there. As Lanky trying to search for way through on Ledgeman. Ledgeman parked his car at the apex. No way through for the Lanky one. And now can Ledgeman finally get through on Gunner? Gunner been really frustrating the Haas driver. Lanky is well involved here. Lime now pulling a gap to Gunner after finally getting ahead. And Gunner now losing the rear to the final corner. Ledgeman reactively kind of loses the rear as well. And Ledgeman, can he finally get ahead now? Does he have the straight line speed on the rear of the Sauber? It feels like he should have, but Gunner deploying his battery beautifully as Lanky on the inside of Ledgeman will get straight ahead, and Ledgeman just doesn't appear to have the straight line speed as Lanky almost into the rear of Gunner. Gunner again having to deal with cars bumping his rear, which I'm sure he's not too happy with, as Lanky now trying to get the exit out of turn 3. Can he finally get ahead of the Sauber? As Lanky now trying to get the exit out of turn 4. Has he got it? Had to lift a little bit to make sure he didn't run wide into Gunner. And Gunner again, lovely defensive driving out there, keeping hold of P10 and frustrating every car behind him. But now a gap to Lime is 3.8 seconds as 1-1-1 says Stephen Beecham is dominating, and that he is. Stephen dominating the day. We've seen so many races like this in the past where Stephen, he seems nailed on to win, but things have not gone his way. As Lanky now looking for the switch back down into the final corner as Gunner goes side by side with Lanky. They're keeping it respectable through the final corner. Now it's a drag race up the hill. Now can Lanky find his way on the outside of Gunner? Gunner almost washes wide. Lanky with a 3-second time penalty off the track and on the grass. Side by side they go down now into turn 1, and Gunner keeps it ahead yet again. Lanky looking on the inside this time. Gunner washing out a little bit wide. Lanky, can he get round the outside finally? And Lanky now up in to P10. It cost him a 3-second time penalty to do it, but has he finally got ahead as the yellow flag is out? And who's it for? It's TJ! TJ, the championship leader, has spun and down to P9, has lost the position to Lime as Gunner now battling again with Lanky and Ledgeman. Ledgeman still frustrated in behind. Can't find a way past Gunner as TJ is spun down to P9, and that'll cost him even more positions because of all the penalty points, or not even the penalty points, the penalty time penalties that he has currently to his name. TJ having a nightmare race in a race that he could have won the championship potentially. Now he may even lose the championship lead here. As Ty still trying to find a way past Crimson. Also have Ledgeman on the rear of Gunner. But Ledgeman just seems to have no straight line speed at all in this Haas. As Lime now into the box. And it appears to have stopped raining, so I hope Lime's gone on dries. Ollie, Bean and Raheem onto the hard tyres, and Northey onto the mediums. Lime, what is he going to go for? Scholes absolutely sends it down into turn 1 as Ledgeman just about gets around the outside. Lime onto the mediums, and I think it is going dries now. And this will change the dynamic of the race. When do the leaders bite onto the dry tyres? Lime's gone early onto the mediums. Can he potentially undercut the drivers he was battling with? Or is it still too wet out there? We will see. As Ledgeman now on the outside of Gunner, can he finally get ahead? This is the most frustrating drive we've seen of the season. Ledgeman just cannot find a way past Gunner. As Scones now still battling with the Haas as well. Meanwhile, Ty still trying to catch Crimson. Do the drivers know that it's dries yet? We will see. As Ty unable to catch Ho Chi Minh now on the rear of D. Summers. May look on the inside. Big send from Ho Chi Minh, sends it too late and catches the rear of Fakiri. And Ho Chi Minh, who was having such a fantastic race, overcooked it into turn 1. Picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. And Ho Chi Minh now down the order as we see a couple of drivers already been lapped here. As Crimson and Ty continue to battle. Lanky in for Dries along with Scones. Hopefully this time Lanky has selected Dries instead of another set of enters, and there you have it, Lanky onto the mediums. You'll love to see it. As Raheem battling with Sci-Fi Mega Hype, and Raheem goes around. Raheem around there, not quite sure what happened. But Raheem around after contact with Sci-Fi Mega Hype, it seemed, as Lanky now in for mediums and goes deep into the wall. Has he got damage? I don't think so, but almost damage for Lanky trying to exit the box. Scones creeping out of the pit lane, struggling for grip here as Northie's retired in the pit lane. We've also got Ty Clear back on the rear of Crimson as Gunner picking up a 3-second time penalty, still battling with Ledgeman, and Ledgeman's finally through in the middle sector. We didn't even catch it, but finally Ledgeman gets through now. Meanwhile, Ty Clear catching Crimson. Can he send it down into turn 1? Unable to get ahead now. When will the enters come in for Dries? We'll keep an eye on Lanky's Delta. Is it working? Currently he's losing time hand over fist to Andrew, so the Dries don't seem to be the quicker tire just yet, but as time progresses they will improve. As Ty losing the rear as he still tries to catch, as TJ now in will serve that 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. Gunner in as well, and I hope for Ledgeman's sake Ledgeman isn't undercut by Gunner, otherwise Ledgeman again will be stuck behind the Cyber, which will be another frustrating outing for him. As Ho Chi Minh now back on the rear of D. Summers following his spin, has recovered, and Ho Chi Minh just seems to have extra grip out there more than everyone else. Just unbelievable. This Gunner and TJ are on the inters. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Both Gunner and TJ on the wrong tyres. And the championship leader may even drop out of the points entirely. TJ having the absolute nightmare of a race as Crimson comes into the box now. Ty Clear will inherit P2. But it couldn't have gone any worse for TJ. He gets ahead of Lanky. It does still seem as he goes deep though. And Lanky trying to battle with TJ up the hill. And Lanky, oh, who has more grip? This is a good battle to watch. Where is the grip? Is it the inters or is it the mediums? It still does seem like the inters have more grip than the Dries at this stage, as Lime gets a 3-second time penalty along with Ollie Bean as well. Crimson into the box. Crimson. Did he go back into the box? I feel like he was in the box for very long there. Oh, he had his 10-second time penalty. That was what it was. Crimson was serving his 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. Meanwhile, D. Summers on the rear of Fakiri. Ho Chi Minh trying to get involved here. D. Summers all over the rear of the Haas. As Ho Chi Minh, his teammate, really not helping D. Summers today. As Ho Chi Minh trying on the rear of D. Summers. Almost pushing through D. Summers here. Side by side they go, and D. Summers getting wheel hooked by his own teammate here today. And I'm sure no love lost between the Williams pair, as D. Summers tries to get ahead of Fakiri. Ellis now will exit behind Gunner, and I'm sure he'll be heartbroken by that reality. But either way, Ho Chi Minh now getting through on Fakiri, and almost, oh no! Ho Chi Minh into the wall, he's out! And it might be a safety car! Ho Chi Minh into the wall after contact with the rear of Fakiri, and it is a safety car! It's a VSC, as Lime contact with Scones, his teammate, and Scones retires on track. What has happened between the Aston Martin teammates? Lime with a 10-second time penalty after coming together with his teammate. And Scones out of the session along with Ho Chi Minh, who was having a great race but lost it, and the VSC now should massively benefit the Ferrari pair, who, if I were them, I would just box on the dries now. Stephen's gonna drive through, I don't believe it! Stephen with a drive through! On lap 27, are you absolutely kidding me? Oh my god, I can't believe it. Just nothing will ever go Stephen's way in this tier. Stephen with a drive through with 9 laps to go, and that is yet again thrown away a win. And now Stephen has to be cautious into the pit lane. Ty, I don't know whether he's going to come in or not. Yellow flag out for Lime, I believe, who's going slow. And Ty gonna come in. Box for mediums, you would say. Meanwhile, Stephen has to do the drive-through. Does Stephen now stay out on the inters or continue on? D. Somers staying out on the inters as Stephen Beecham gonna exit the box following his drive-through penalty, and Stephen into the wall. Stephen losing the car into the wall, and this is absolutely perfect for Ty Clear. Stephen absolutely heartbroken. Again, another race. Just, oh my god, I can't even explain the heartbreak for Stephen in this season. Has been so close to many wins, but again, it seems like another potential win thrown away. Can Stephen at least get onto the mediums and hope for a P2 that will help him in the championship? But the driver who should take the championship lead here will be Ty Clear, as long as he keeps it clean until the end. Ty Clear should inherit P1 here. Meanwhile, Stephen, Andy Somers surely coming in this lap along with Ayub and Andrew. Gunnar and TJ out on the inters. May have to box again. Ellis picking up a time penalty. That's not going to help him in his race. But Stephen is going to stay out, and I don't feel like it's the right move, but he's too heartbroken. And D. Somers picks up another 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty. But I think Stephen just is too distraught. DRS enabled, which is your key indicator that it will be dries to the end. And Stephen has to go on dries here. And Scones in the chat, please report it in the with the stewards, and the stewards will deal with it. It will be dealt with. Don't worry about that, Scones. But just make sure to report it. But Stephen, another heartbreaking race here. Drive through at really inopportune time. And he'll have to box for mediums. He has to. Stephen, if you're listening, you have to box for mediums. Your inters will not go to the end. Let you know now. As Crimson getting ahead of D. Somers as D. Somers exits the box. Has another 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane penalty. As TJ staying out now on the inters. Has to come in surely, but hasn't, surprisingly enough. Stephen now will be losing time rapidly. But is he going to stay out? He is going to come in. Has to brake though into the pit lane. Please don't overcook it, like we've seen so many drivers do. And Stephen should hopefully get P2 here. Hopefully get P2 and limit the damage. But God, it is so heartbreaking how yet again Stephen just, it seems like the win is on the plate for him, and it just doesn't happen, unfortunately. D. Somers back on the rear of Crimson. But Crimson should have P4 in the bag. As Stephen will exit even behind Fakiri. So Stephen now drops to P3. And now we'll have the battle with the Haas of Fakiri until the end to try and get P2 here. Ty Clear now has a 9-second lead over the Haas driver. As D. Somers now back down the inside of Crimson. Can D. Somers get ahead through turn 4? Can't get the rotation. Crimson keeps it ahead. As the McLaren now. Slightly older mediums. D. Somers trying to find a way through. But unable to, as Ollie been picking up another 3-second time penalty. All the drivers currently in the race now will will score points, but can Stephen, by some miracle, reclaim the win here? It would be an absolutely sensational comeback, but Ty is no slouch, so I doubt it'll happen. As Stephen now on the outside of Fakiri, and Fakiri with currently a season best on the podium, and all he really needs to do now is keep his tyres together and make sure, as Fakiri 3-second time penalty, I was about to say, make sure he doesn't get any penalties, and ends up getting one. As D Summers battling with Crimson all over. And Crimson getting helped by the lapped car ahead of him. As Raheem inadvertently involved. As Andrew finally in. As TJ staying out on these inters, surprisingly enough. But I think it's because he believes he can make it to the end, but we may even see a puncture because he doesn't realise how quickly these will overheat in the dry conditions, but we'll see how TJ goes. But regardless of how TJ does, he will definitely leave the championship, or definitely lose the championship lead to Ty here, as D Summers now in the rear of Crimson, battling yet again with the McLaren. D Summers has been all over the rear of the McLaren here. And can he finally get through down into turn 1? D Summers going to try and outbrake the McLaren on the inside here, battling, and D Summers finally through. As that was weird, it looked like there was some desync with the Sauber. Why does it kind of look like the rain's come back again? Anyone seeing this? Is it raining again? It is! What? It's raining again? What? I've never seen that in my life! It went dry rain. And there hasn't even been a safety car! What? Andrew's in for the inters, he's gone far too early, but maybe TJ staying out in the inters wasn't so bad. Why is it raining again? What is happening? What's going on? It's back raining again! I've never seen this in my entire life! The DRS is disabled! What? What? Is it enters? What? Is this gonna work out in TJ's is it gonna help him? Ellis gets a 10-second penalty. D Summers gets another 10-second penalty! Oh my god, D Summers with his third 10-second penalty of the day. Doesn't know when to stop into the pit lane, it seems. But, dude, does Ty come in? Does Stephen come in? Does Fakri come in? TJ's obviously staying out now. He's clearly seen that the rain was coming again, which is insane to me. But TJ actually may very well limit the damage done by his absolutely chaotic race. And TJ, we'll have a look at his penalties. He's only got 3 seconds. He may get back up into P5 again. That's a major comeback for TJ. Although D Summers now exiting the box ahead, and so is Abe. Can TJ get ahead of D Summers now? D Summers will have the 8-lap fresher inters, but TJ back up in a P6. D Summers back down the inside. Can he find the grip? Can D Summers get through it? It's a lovely move from D Summers, but still TJ on the inters. P7, I'm sure he'll take after this chaotic race. Ty into the box for inters. Does Stephen stay out? He is going to come in. Does Fakri stay out? He's also going to come in. Please, no 10-second time penalties, lads. I will pay you to not get a 10-second penalty. But TJ inadvertently has somehow worked his way back up into P7. This is sensational stuff. Fakri, thankfully on the inters. Crimson has stayed out. Crimson stayed out with 3 laps to go. Where's Crimson going to end up? As we exit the box, Ty will inherit the lead. Crimson into P2. But surely he's going to lose a heap of time here. But Crimson, his battle's really with Stephen and Fakri to the end here. Can he finish ahead of them? That's who he was battling with, Stephen and Fakri. And they're both exiting the pit lane in the background now. Lanky now is 22 seconds off TJ. So TJ should still score P7 which I'm sure he will definitely take after how badly this race has went for him. But this has been the most mental race I've ever seen in my entire life for weather. Oh, and it's a big mistake from Stephen Beecham. Fakiri almost getting back through again. And Stephen trying to push to catch Crimson again, almost lost the rear up Ferradura, because Stephen knows he needs that P2 if he wants to ensure the championship goes to another round. As Andrew back into the pit lane, Ledgeman and Gunner getting through. Ledgeman, I'm sure, is happy. He's ahead of Gunner now. Doesn't have to worry about trying to get back past again. But Crimson's already lost out here, and Crimson going to come into the pit lane, and Crimson I think should have come in a lap earlier. He may lose out even more positions, and he's got 10-second time penalty. That is going to cost Crimson massively here. Yellow flag out. It might be Lanky. No, it is Ollie Bean letting people through on the hard tires. But Crimson now might even drop behind TJ, especially with the 10-second time penalty. And Crimson's gone on to hards. His race is over. Crimson, in an attempt to get onto the podium, has now lost so many positions. Penultimate lap of the race. And Crimson now picked the wrong tires. And now TJ's gotten promoted to P6. This is going to help him massively. And I can't even tell you how close it's going to be by the end here. I've just forgotten I didn't have the app open the entire time. As well close that. But hopefully it records the time. We'll see. But Ty now going to start the final lap, leading the race. Stephen with that drive-through will be so gutted again. I'm sure of it. Meanwhile, Fakiri getting his first podium here in WHF, potentially. We will see as we start the final lap here. Where will Ty finish this race? He just needs to hold on. No silly mistakes, and Ty should have it. Stephen, unfortunately, a drive-through would cost him massively. And Stephen, the win still allows him here in Tier 2. And with it, may miss out potentially on the championship. As TJ only in P6 will have to do some calculations after the race. Hopefully the app, I've opened it late, but hopefully it records something. So we are able to do some calculations on stream. But if not, I will take a picture of the results anyway, so we can quickly do some results. But Ty, who was P2 in the championship going into the race, needed to cut a 14-point lead. And Ty now, as he rounds the final corner, had been one of the most unlucky drivers in WHF leading up to this season, and now the unlucky driver now as he rounds the final corner and comes up to the line. Ty Clear will win in Brazil, and with it take the championship lead into the final round of the season. Meanwhile, his teammate will cross the line in P2, closing the gap to TJ, and with it also Ferrari are constructor champions here in Tier 2 in WHF. Great to see Ferrari as Fakiri with P3 gets his first podium in his career, as D Summers crosses the line in P5, but with all the penalties, TJ just misses out. TJ almost got back ahead of D Summers there, as Line will finish ahead of Raheem and Sci-Fi Mega Hype, and Lanky crosses the line in P7. Followed by Crimson, who down to P8 after a potential podium was on the cards, as Ellis and Gunner battle now. But who has more penalties is the question. We will see. Ledgeman crosses the line, and Gunner finishes ahead of Ledgeman. I'm sure Ledgeman is absolutely gutted. Battled so hard with Gunner the whole race, and ends up finishing behind him. So Ledgeman gutted finishing behind Gunner. I'm sure as Andrew may have jumped SNZ UAE there, or not. We'll see. I'll have to double check after. But let me ensure we get results here But Ty, with another win this season, Stephen, unfortunately, is not the bride yet again here. And with it, Ty takes the championship lead here in Tier 2, ahead of TJ and Stephen Beecham. And meanwhile, Fakiri picking up his first podium of the season here in round 11 in a fantastic race by the Haas driver, who will jump several positions in the championship maybe. I think he'll jump ahead of Andrew and close to Zampa, but not close enough. But Fakiri now up into P11 in the championship after that result potentially. And Abe is the driver of the day. Race winner goes to Ty Clear. And let me make sure I get the results here on my phone, just so that in the event the app doesn't work, that we can do some quick calculations so that we can look at the standings toward the end of the race, as we've thankfully got all the race director in. But as we wait for drivers to join the interviews, what I will do is see if the app worked. Did it work? I believe so. Let us have a look here. As we wait for drivers to join the interviews, we'll just invite all of them to the party if we can. But let's see, can the results be here? That'd be great. They are here, thankfully. And then Paul was Stephen Beecham, so let's just add that in really quickly. And then we'll close that and open it again and see what that's done to the standings. But as we join us here, we're going to start with the man who led the championship coming into this race, but had an absolute race from hell, and even with that, somehow lucked his way up into P6. TJ, how'd that race go for you?
Yeah, it was the dries. I felt quick, and then the wear I was horrible, and I got shunted at the start. But yeah, when it dried up, I just stayed on the inters, just seeing, because I knew it was going to rain again. I was like, I'll see what this can do, and I think I went from P8 to P9, P6, I mean. And if I'm correct, I tried to do the maths quickly in my head. I think I'm still in the lead of the championship by 1 point.
Yeah, I've did the results there now, and you lead the championship by a point over Ty Clear. Couldn't be closer, really, going into the final race. Also, Stephen Beecham is there with an outside chance, 18 points behind. But an absolute crazy race there for sure. But have you ever had a race where so many things have went wrong?
Not really. This is definitely, I think, the worst race, and then along with the first one when I had a couple spins. But I'm still not going to be too fussed about it. It's annoying, but I'm still in the lead, and Abu Dhabi is definitely one of my top 3 tracks. So I'm excited for that one.
Well, I'll definitely say you're a lucky man, because if it weren't for the final 10 laps where a couple drivers started dropping out, it could have been a whole lot worse, and Ty could have had a much stronger lead. So I was honestly surprised now that I'm looking at the results that you are still leading somehow, even after all that chaos. But as we head to Abu Dhabi, you've mentioned it is one of your top 3 tracks. Do you think you can win the title?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna put. I didn't put in much practice for Brazil because I already knew it was a horrible track for me. So I was like, I'll just try and damage limitation for this one. But Abu Dhabi, I'm gonna put all the practice in, as it's a strong track, so I'm excited for it.
Also, we got a raid from E Walker. Thank you for the raid. I just noticed that now. I wonder, do I know how to shout out people on Twitch? I think I've forgotten how to. But thank you for the raid, Walker. Absolute legend. But thank you for that, TJ. We're looking forward to that battle. It's a 3-way title fight as we head to Abu Dhabi next time out, and it'll be an insane watch. We're going to move on to Stephen Beecham, who is another one of the championship protagonists. Now jumps, doesn't jump, but does improve his standing, but still 18 points behind TJ as we head into the final round. Stephen, it's just, I don't want to mention it, but maybe you might be cursed. What is happening? How are you still not getting any wins this season?
With that pace that I had, I really don't know. That VSC, it just really killed me. I hit a turn right when it was ending, and it just put me right over the threshold of the pace. So, that's on me. Mistakes happen. That drive-through penalty, put me over into P2. But I've been sitting here in P2 all season, and but regardless, I'm glad that Ty got the win, and 1-2 Ferrari, and um, regardless, it's still a great drive. I'm really not that good in the wet, and so I kind of put my Lewis Hamilton style together and just tried to make it happen. But next race should be fun. Should be fun.
Yeah, well, regardless, even though the race didn't go the ideal way, you're still closing the championship and you still have a chance as we head into the final round to win it all. Also, you and Ty with that 1-2 in couldn't be in more picturesque fashion with ending with a 1-2. You win the Constructors title, so congrats to you and Ty winning the Tier 2 Constructor Championship.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great season.
And we will move on to Gunnar. Gunnar, who the entire race had battles with Ledgeman throughout. Gunnar, how'd that race go for you?
It's better than my previous ones, but still not that great. From qualifying, I had good pace. My first stint was good. Second stint, I invalidated. I was 3 turns up. That could have maybe put me like top 5. But then race pace on dries, I felt was okay, was good. I was gonna maybe battle for like towards the higher points. But then the wet came and it was horrible. I just like survival out there for me, and I was battling Ledgeman. I was keeping him behind as much as I could. He was definitely faster than me on the wets, but he eventually got past me. But then with the penalties, I got him on track position.
Yeah, it was really fascinating to watch that defensive drive, because even when you did get overtaken by people, for some reason Ledgeman was the driver who just couldn't get past for so long. And
I know, yeah.
We'll move on to Ledgeman. You finally did get past Gunnar in the end, but it was too little too late with the penalties. How frustrating was that race, Ledgeman?
Well, first of all, the first couple laps, why did just absolutely everyone perish? I think I went from like P15 to like P8 just from people killing each other. And then that when that first rain came out, I was stuck on Gunner's gearbox for so long, and every time I was at that sort of awkward pace where I could sort of go up on the inside but never quite put in front. So every time that someone would come through, I would try and slip through with them, and I just failed every single time until eventually. And then I went onto the dries too early, even though I waited about 2 or 3 laps after everyone else. Somehow it was still wet. I don't even know how the track was still wet. And then when it started raining again, I was just coasting through a corner nicely, and then the car completely disappears from underneath me, and I went flying across the corner and got a 10-second penalty. So unfortunately, spinning out again, a ledger spin moment over a corner got to be a penalty.
I will say though, in the race, I did give you a compliment that you were a lot better than previous seasons, because there was times when in last season we would have definitely seen you get frustrated in behind someone trying to get ahead and just spin the rears, but you were a lot more composed when battling with Gunnar, so we were pleased to see that you were not spinning all the time. But spins do happen from time to time, but
especially when you're in dries and wet.
It's still a decent race nonetheless. We'll move on to D Summers, who had a great race, but for some reason didn't know how to hit the brake pedal when entering the pit lane. D Summers, how'd that race go for you?
Yeah, every time I was trying to enter the pit lane, I was either on slicks in the wet, or I was on overheated inters in the dry. So the first one, I kind of shot myself in the foot, and I thought, right, okay, next pit stop, I'll brake a lot earlier and be able to stop. And the car just skidded. So no matter where I decided to put the brake pressure, the pit lane did not like me at all today. But yeah, lap 1 was crazy. I got down to turn 4, hit my brakes, and my hard tires were not up to temperature yet. I almost went into the back of Scones. I had to take avoiding action. And that dumped me down to like P13. And from that point, it was just get your head down, recovery drive.
Well, we did see you towards the end battling with Crimson, which it seemed like to be on for a good position, but I wonder, was that when you were on the dries and then went back to inters again, which in my entire career I have never seen it go dry, inter. Has anyone had a race like that?
I've not had a race go like that before. It's the first time I've seen it, but the thing is, by the time by the time the first batch of rain had finished, my rear tires on my inters were showing orange already on the tire wear, so I couldn't go to the end on them. So I switched to the dries, thinking, it says 5 minutes, but it can take 10 minutes for rain to come, and then in the last 3 laps the rain came back. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm just pleased that I managed to move forward from where I started, even though dropping back at the beginning.
Yeah, honestly, there was so much carnage that race, especially on lap 3. There couldn't have been more cars leaving the track. I just couldn't tell. I was just making noises on lap 3. There was just cars absolutely everywhere. But an absolute crazy race, but you still ended up with a P5 despite all the penalties as well. So I would still take that as a good result.
I mean, put it this way. In the end, I only ended with a 10-second penalty instead of 30 seconds, which it would have been. So,
Well, decent race. We'll move on to Lanky, who also had such a great qualifying, was in P2, but when he went in for his first pit stop, it put him on the dries instead of the inters. A bit of heartbreak, and then from then it was a recovery drive from then on. Lanky, how'd that race go for you?
I realised what happened with the stop. I did inters on the strategy because I could see the not the strategy, the pre-screen, like once we started the race. But then they came up saying there's, when they go, there's higher, the tyre wears higher than we're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I've then obviously confirmed that, which put it back to the slicks. So yeah, that's what's happened there. So that sort of ruined the chance for the win there. But I thought, it's not too drastic. But then when the rain stopped, it was bone dry on my screen. Like there wasn't even any reflection on the track. Like the track was bone dry, and it's like, right, yeah, it's slicks now. So I go on to slicks, and that was like driving on ice for 5 laps. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there. It was quite a strange one. It was difficult, but I managed to get some nice overtakes done and move back up, like forwards again after that mistake. So that's the main thing. I didn't keep going backwards.
Yeah, honestly, we had a race in Brazil last week in Tier 1, but honestly, that Tier 2 race seemed far more difficult to deal with all those conditions. We just had a dry to wet race, which is pretty easy to get to grips with. Whenever you go dry, wet, that is... How do you even predict what to do? That just seemed like...
No, you can't.
Yeah. That just...
It's hard.
So anytime you make a mistake in that sort of scenario, it's just punished even more. So difficult to deal with, but still a decent enough race. Lanky, where'd you end up finishing there?
7th, I think, in the end.
That's still decent.
So,
and,
yeah, because I ended up in 17th, I think, after, obviously, because it put the mediums on, then I had to stop again to get the inters on.
Well, P7
so, yeah,
from...
I'll take it.
From P17 is a very good recovery. But with it, we still have D Summers here. As we head into the final round, 12 points separate you and D Summers. Do you think you can hold on to P6 for the rest of the season?
I hope to. Abu's another track I enjoy. So, but me and D Summers, we've had quite a few tight battles. So if we have anything like that again, it could be one of those like little deciders between us on the night thing. We'll see how it goes if we end up near each other on track. Anyway, we're quite similar for pace on quite a few tracks.
Yeah, I just won't give you a toe during quali this time.
Oh, that was just perfect timing. You just finished your lap and we're going down that second straight, and I was like, yeah, thank you very much.
All
Well-
I have to say to that is, damn it.
Well, we're going to look forward to see that battles and many other battles in the finale. Also, Lime, how'd your race go today as well?
Absolutely terrible. Did the tier 1 race last weekend, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll be alright. Did some practice before, I was like, yeah, no, we're not alright. So, absolutely abysmal qualifying. And then the first 3 laps, I was like, oh, everyone's just absolutely binned themselves off. I'm up into like 10th or 9th. Rain came. I was like, okay, I'm going to box. Boxed. Battled, got through cars, was happy where I was, and then rain stopped, and I was like, okay, it looks dry, like actually bone dry. Let's put on some mediums. Yeah, it wasn't dry. I was battling with my tyres for like 5 laps, like they were not going above 50 degrees. Just ice raked. And then me and Scots came together, because I had no grip or whatsoever. I had nothing. And then it was just mainly survive at that point, really. After the second batch of rain came, which I didn't even know that was coming at all, to be fair. So it was just one batch would dry to wet, not 2. But yeah, apart from that, it was okay. There were some fun battles. Obviously, just kind of want to impact the championship a little bit now. I can't win it, but to impact it a little bit, to make it a little bit more fun next weekend for people. So yeah, hopefully something can happen. At least get another win to round off the end of the season. That would be quite fun. But no, it wasn't good at all.
All right, well, thank you, Lime. We'll have to wrap it up there. And as we head into the finale, TJ will lead the championship by a point ahead of Ty Clear. We honestly thought Ty Clear was going to be leading the championship comfortably into the final round, but somehow TJ weaseled his way back up into P6 again, and somehow was able to maintain the championship lead as we head into the finale. Also, Stephen Beecham yet to get a win this season. It seemed nailed on today for him to get it, but somehow still missed out. Hopefully Stephen can finally get that final that win here in Tier 2 in the finale. Even if he doesn't win the championship, we'd love to just see him get a win at the end of the day. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. Also, we're going to find someone to raid on our way out. Let us see who we can raid. Let us try and raid AKC Fernandez. But thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. Also, make sure to follow Fernandez on your way over. But I've been WHF Faro, and we'll see you all next week for the finale in Abu Dhabi. And goodbye.